Okay, Chris here from the Dancing Donkey. Thought I'd try this video thing since I don't think I can write all this out without having my hands fall apart. I am trying to make a hoof boot for Ramsey. Um, as you know, he's having problems with his foot, and I am trying to come up with ways of making sure that he stays happy and comfortable for many, many years to come yet. I have some shoes over here that came from Advanced Equine Support. These are really nice shoes. They're nice and flexible and light and very sturdy. They offer a lot of shock absorption, and they're tough, and I think they're a great product. The only problem is they don't fit Ramsey. I have looked at just about every type of hoof boot, hoof shoe, everything you can possibly imagine that's out there already pre-made, and they all have one thing in common, and that is that they don't fit. I've made some alterations to some of these to try and make them fit. This one I did try to glue onto his bad foot. I cut the toe off because it was too long in the front, and I split the sides open because the reason these don't fit is that the angles are all wrong. A few weeks ago, I made casts of Ramsey's feet, mold, I should say, of his hooves out of dental impression material, so that I would have something to work with. And then I cast his hooves in resin. This is the plastic resin that I've been working with all kinds of stuff. And this is a copy of Ramsey's bad foot. And I think you can see, from there, it looks kind of normal. But over here, this is where he has really poor wall connection, and the wall just keeps degrading even more and falling apart. I cannot get this to grow in. And then this spring, for the first time, he got an abscess on the medial aspect of his hoof wall. That's the inner part, and that's this divot here is growing out. And this was taken about 3-4 weeks ago, this cast, so this is down a little farther, and I trimmed the foot yesterday, and everything from where my thumb is down over like this and like this all just fell off because this abscess had undermined that hoof wall, so there's no wall. So basically, there's just no decent hoof wall for these shoes to attach to. The other issue with them, I need to be able to visualize this stuff and feel it, so I made an insert of one of these shoes to see exactly how it looked. And the biggest problem I'm having with them is that I think if I can line this up, you can see that the angles are just all wrong, because these shoes are made for horses, and Ramsey, of course, is not a horse. So when you're gluing on a shoe, what you really need to have happen is you really need to have, pardon me, I'm trying to do this all one-handed. You need to have these flaps here really connect solidly to the hoof wall so that you get really good glue connection between the hoof and the shoe. And with Ramsey, we wound up with this huge gap in the toe, and then over here, there just isn't anything to glue to really at the moment. And I could not keep this on him. It just fell off. This is a copy of his Goodfoot. It's wrapped in red tape just so that some of these materials won't stick to the resin when I'm working on it. And this worked a lot better. I could definitely, I could work with this and I could make this work. But his Goodfoot doesn't necessarily need a shoe on it. So, I've got all kinds of stuff here that I've been playing with. Different types of molds and different types of plastic. One of the things I'm working with right now is this stuff called Vitaflex 60, made by Smooth On. This company makes a million different types of pourable silicones and rubbers, and if you look at their website and look at some of their stuff, might make your head explode. But it's fun to work with if you have a whole bunch of money to spend. I brought a trial size of just this one thing to see if I can make this work. After talking to the company and some other people, I went with this, and this Vitaflex 60 is a urethane rubber. It's super flexible. It's nice and squishy. It's got tons of shock absorption, but it's incredibly tough. You cannot rip this stuff. It's really hard to cut or stab. I can cut the stuff with scissors if I work at it, but it's pretty hard to mess up with. So this is what I would really like to try to use on Ramsey's foot. The issue is how to attach it to his foot. So there's another company that makes called Sigafus. They make a horseshoe that glues on with this fabric. This stuff is like Kevlar. You cannot cut this stuff with scissors, even though it just looks like regular fabric. It is really, really tough. And they make a really nice shoe that you can glue on, and it attaches with this cuff. This is not one of their shoes. This is a prototype I've been playing with, trying to figure out how I can combine this stuff with this, and I've got this mess here. But the part that I do like about this, if you can envision his foot in this, these two materials bond really well together. I cannot, no matter how hard I pull on this was just one layer thick, but I cannot pull these things apart. It's really hard to cut. And if I can get it thicker, I think that I could glue this on if we had a nice cushion inside of here, and I could glue the whole thing on. I think that could work. So that brings us to this little part. I used my my hot melt glue gun, and I made it's a mold that I can pour the Vitaflex into. I made one of these. This is a pad. This is kind of what I'm hoping to use on the bottom. So what I'm thinking now is that I am going to line this mold with this what this fabric is called polyvectrin fabric. It's some kind of braided, that I don't even know what it's made out of, but it's like I said, it's like Kevlar. It won't cut with a knife. You have to have special scissors to cut it, which of course I don't have, so that may be the next issue. But I'm going to... Where did I just put that? I want to try to... I'm going to pour some of this Vitaflex in here, add this on top, let the whole thing cure, cut the toe off here so that I have something that will wrap up around the hoof that I can then use to glue the foot on. This material is very, it has a lot of stretch to it in the width, so you can sort of pull it wider. And I don't know, I think if I could get that on him, I think that could work. So, I'm sorry this video is maybe a little disorganized looking, but that's what I'm trying. And now, if this works, if this video thing works, if all of it works, I'll let you know, because that's my next step, is I'm going to try to combine these elements right here into something that I can then glue onto Ramsey's foot and see if we can keep him happy. All right, I'll be back sometime. Thanks. Take care.